3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Joining me today, Kevin Murphy and Daniel Miller with, hello, how are you guys?
Great.
Good.
Happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too because we're going to talk about some fun stuff here. So you are both with the Hannibal Y Men's Club, correct?
That's correct.
And we're here today to talk about Mud Volleyball. So Mud Volleyball, Kevin, has been in your life for a very long time, right?
Yeah, I'm old.
You're not old? No. See, I think that maybe the Mud Volleyball is keeping you young.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah?
I'm not sure. We'll see.
So, of course, we're talking about mud volleyball that happens at, is it Tanya Gardens? Is that kind of the place, or is it?
We call it the foot of Hill Street.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of opposite of Main Street from Tanya Gardens.
Gotcha.
JC's, Hannibal JC's, who are
Yep.
the hosts for National Tom Sawyer Days, have their event down on the south side of Main Street.
Okay.
And our tournament takes place on the north side of Main Street.
Gotcha.
At the base of Hill Street.
Gotcha, because we were kind of distinguishing. So it does take place during National Tom Sawyer Days, but your event, which is always huge, we've been there, a few years in a row. It goes back to benefit the YMCA of Hannibal, right?
That's right.
So separate, but the crowd that it draws is kind of like. It kind of overflows, right? They go back and forth from Tom Sawyer Days to Mud Volleyball. How many years have you been involved in this?
So the tournament is 45 years old this year.
Wow, that's outstanding.
I've been playing since I was 14, but don't tell anybody that because that was against the rules back then.
Really?
Yeah.
You rebel.
So this will be my 37th and final year participating.
Yeah, which your wife says...
She'll believe it when she sees it.
Yeah. Because I feel like you are heavily involved, which is awesome. And Daniel, you are bracketologist in training. Did I get that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, so I'm assuming, and again, I'm not a sportser, but I'm assuming you're in charge of the brackets and who's winning and keeping tally on teams and whatnot.
Yeah, so from year to year, we look at how the teams finish and seed the tournament for the next year, and then incoming teams, we put those in and try and make it as fair and equitable as possible.
Yeah.
Both for the adult tournament and the junior tournament.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned the junior because it kicks off on Wednesday with youth mud volleyball. How old do you have to be?
There's no lower age limit.
Okay.
We were talking on the way over here. Kind of for me as a parent, it's when they can serve it over the net.
Yeah.
And their nets are pretty high and the balls get pretty heavy. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're old enough to crawl in the mud and your parents will let you.
You're
We'll
welcome.
take your money.
There you go.
We'll let you
Heck yeah.
put a team in it.
That's awesome.
What, 6 or 7 year olds?
We have
for
some 6 and 7 year olds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going to be hilarious to watch. Okay, because of course, you mentioned serving over the net, which, yeah, we want to make sure you can play, but the mud adds a certain difficulty, right? I mean, it's definitely an element, a force to be reckoned with because you have to wear your stuff a certain way. You have to wear certain things, right? Otherwise, the pants will come down, the shoes will get stuck, right? I mean, it's just a part of it.
Yes.
So run me through kind of what equipment or how you prepare for a mud volleyball game.
Yeah, we actually talked about this too on the way up here. Daniel's going to pull up some of the things that all teams should have courtside.
Okay.
To protect the players and protect your clothes.
Okay.
So I'll kind of let him walk through what he brought there from a courtside perspective.
Sure. Okay, so you got a bucket.
I got a 5-gallon bucket, and so you're going to want to have that filled up with water. And some teams, the Y Men's Club, as part of the registration, gives every team a bucket.
Okay.
So you get one bucket. A lot of teams will have 2 or more. But you want a bucket with clean water. You'll also get a sponge when you register, and you're going to need duct tape to hold, like you said, to hold
those
things
pants
where they're
up.
supposed to
Yes.
be, shoes and pants, and a towel usually, which I think Kevin brought some of that stuff. But mud gets in your eyes, gets in your nose, mouth, so you get some clean water and you sponge yourself off and wash your hands off as best you can. Try and keep your arms clean and your eyes clean as best you can. But those buckets will get absolutely.
Oh, I can
they'll
only
go
imagine.
from clean water to
caked in mud.
opaque
Yeah.
brown.
So then the glasses, I assume, of course, you want to try to protect your eyes, but
Sure.
yeah.
And some people can't play with glasses, which
Okay.
I've always found that interesting. There'll be times where you'll be in the middle of a point and this will be covered with mud.
Yeah.
And you'll see them just thrown off to the side
Really?
and you'll be playing, in the middle of a point with no protection of the eyes. I carry two different types of glasses typically, one for the daytime and then one for the nighttime.
Gotcha.
Where, I don't know, it's probably a decade ago we added lights to the courts. And of course, wearing typical sunglasses, they just don't operate the
Sure.
same. So that's kind of become a new trick of the trade per se.
Now, do you share these with the teams coming in, or you just let them figure this
We
out
let
on
them
their
figure
own?
it out
There
for
you
their
go.
own.
Absolutely.
And maybe the biggest innovation that changed the game for a lot of players is the cleat.
Okay.
So I remember as a young kid playing against a team that was a perennial winner and hearing them step out of the mud and hit the concrete, their shoes made a really distinct sound.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what it was till I looked, and they were all wearing soccer cleats.
So
The
it
next
amazes
year-
me that you wear shoes.
Right. Well, you got to remember, Ashley, underneath this layer of mud that we've created is hard packed dirt,
Gotcha.
clay dirt.
Okay.
So an unshoed foot would be slipping around like
Yeah.
crazy. And it's really interesting to see how cleats have changed the game for mud volleyball because everybody can move now.
It makes sense. Yeah, a little more traction, a little more protection for your feet, less concern about what you're stepping on and where, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's very smart. It does bring something to mind though, because cleats are not cheap. Do you just go buy a new pair of cleats for this, or hopefully you have like used ones or some that are designated for this, or
Sure.
Yeah.
I bought a pair for
I was gonna say, those look
for
brand
my very
spanking new,
last,
man.
year
Yeah.
of mud volleyball. I did buy a new pair that'll be passed down
that's cool.
to our family, I'm sure. But Daniel, I'm sure you guys clean your cleats and reuse.
Well, usually you clean them off as best you can, and then around the second week of June, you find your dirty mud bucket that probably has your cleats in it still,
Yeah.
and they're hard and just feel like they're packed in
Feel like-
concrete from old. So
Yeah.
you bang them around and get the dirt off, or soak them, or whatever. But
Yeah.
they last several years, and then sometimes they'll blow out, and
Yeah.
either you find some at a thrift shop,
store or
or
something.
sometimes you just have to go buy some new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
they're hard to
happens.
find in Hannibal right now.
Yeah, I
They
bet.
just go off the
I
shelf
bet.
really quickly.
Yeah. So let's talk about taping real quick, because duct tape is one of the things. And the last time we went to check out the Mud Volleyball tournament, we noticed a lot of people had tape around almost everything that they were wearing, right? It's just to keep it in place,
Sure.
right? Keep the mud out.
Yeah.
That
Not necessarily mud out, but
No?
but clothes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I was very surprised to see that, just because I was thinking, well, yeah, but then when you get in there, I imagine it's like, oh, thank goodness for tape.
Yeah,
Right.
the mud gets really heavy.
Yeah.
And so if it just kind of, and gravity, it'll just pull on your shorts or,
Yeah.
or whatever else, and the suction in the mud for your cleats, you tape it
those
around
around.
around your ankle and
Yeah.
around the foot, and just kind of keep it on there as best you can.
Yeah. Yep.
It's very technical. I mean, all of these things, see, you're giving all these hints. I would just show up and be like, hey, I guess I'll be tripping by the end of this thing, because I would have no clue. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I love all the tips of the trade. I think it's really cool that you guys are here talking about it. And you mentioned years, so 45 years into this, and you've been involved for a fairly long time. Now, the ages for the adults, you said there is a certain limit. Is that right? I mean, you have to be a certain age for the adult team.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be entering your freshman year of high school.
Freshman year, okay. And then team-wise, you still have some openings for some teams to register. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. How do they go about registering? Do they have to have their team together? Can a sole player come in and get put on a team, or how does this work?
You need to have at least 4
Okay.
to complete registration.
Okay.
And there is a link on the Hannibal Wyman's Facebook page. And I think the Hannibal YMCA has shared a link out as well, but you can find that on there and register up until July 3rd.
July 3rd, which is when it all starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What time does it start?
The junior tournament on Wednesday starts at 6.
6 o'clock. Okay. And then if you have your team and you get there, it's Wednesday and Thursday youth again, Friday, Saturday, and then into Sunday, which is usually over by when, did you say, Kevin?
Usually by 4. We never know
Exactly.
how long, because we only take the top 8 teams
Gotcha.
to Sunday. And Ashley, if you were to go watch on a Sunday, you could get yourself a beer and finish it before a point is over.
Really?
That's how long some points will go against those top teams.
And I drink pretty fast too, so yeah, I would. That would be a good day for Ash, I think. Yeah, coming out to watch. So if you were, I was trying to think of something. Okay, so it's rain or shine, right?
Rain or shine.
Rain or
Lightning
shine.
will postpone.
Gotcha.
But rain or shine. We play through rain.
Okay, and the weather is supposed to be fairly nice. I think there might be a chance of rain at some point, but if you're in the mud, you might welcome a little rain. So I say, yeah, go out. And if you're interested in playing, get your team together, get a hold of these fellas, get registered up until Wednesday, right, July 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go out and watch, I highly recommend it. Grab yourself a beer. There's a lot of food there. Vendors, I mean, there's so much stuff going on. Mud Volleyball, of course, is one of the more entertaining events, I think, but it goes all weekend long. It's supposed to be great weather. And what better way to celebrate 4th of July than to give back to the Hannibal YMCA, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you guys so much. Good luck. And I'll have to come out and watch because if this is right and this is your last year, I don't want to miss out on this.
I have a gift for you.
You do?
So if you're going to come watch Mud Volleyball, you need a koozie.
Yes.
You need an official
The
Y
cup.
Men's beer mug.
Okay.
So you get the Murphy Mutters koozie
Oh.
cup, which is the team I will be playing my last year on. And there are one beer token for you for when you get there.
Well,
So,
Kevin, thank you so much. Daniel, thank you guys so much. I will definitely
Thank
be
you.
out to check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the winners, real quick, we want to mention the winners get what?
Sure.
They get the top 4 all get a
Crystal mug,
crystal
yeah.
mug. Yep.
And bragging rights.
Bragging
And
rights.
bragging rights.
Absolutely.
And one of the fun things that's been a tradition is we will shut off the beer taps as the tournament nears its end.
Uh-huh.
But the top 4 teams, if they have a glass mug, while they're down there,
They
get to partake for no cost.
Little special treatment. I love
Yeah.
it.
As long as they're safe. You know,
right.
we want everybody to be safe
Sure.
and responsible.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. There's a decorum there, right?
Amen. Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Well, thank you for the gift. Like I've always said, you don't have to bring me one, but my favorite guests do. So thank you guys so much. Good luck this weekend, and I'll be looking forward to watching you play. And we didn't even talk about some of the team names, so we'll have to come back and chat about some of the fun ones. You have two real quick that you think are the best.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. I really like this year. There's one called Peanut Butter and Jellies.
Nice.
Love
That's
that
pretty
one.
fun.
That's
and
good.
then a classic one. One of my favorites is Joel Booth, Please Report to Court C. That's a favorite one from.
Awesome.
Yeah, the backstory there is Joel Booth's a member.
Yeah.
So every time that team played, he was running down wondering why he had to go ref on court C. So it's just kind of a fun.
That's clever.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
great.
it. Love it,
So-
love it. And of course, your family's been involved this time. So one of the more classics, Murphy Mutters, right? This is awesome. Good luck. Thank you guys again. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, Ashley.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate
Mud
it.
Volleyball Tournament. Yeah. Go check it out. Benefits the Hannibal YMCA. Can't beat it, right? Good
Right.
times. Coming up next, I sit down with my Aunt Amy and Pilar Brumbaugh to talk about fireworks and dogs. Stay tuned.
Kelly's has been a fun place to eat and drink in Quincy since 1982. A fun and friendly atmosphere, food with flavor, homemade cinnamon rolls, and famous cheese soup, the best menu in town. Kelly's, 2902 Broadway, Quincy.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be. Before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next special event? Check out Utopia Event Center. Utopia has a large banquet room and an awesome bar area, perfect for anything from birthday parties to formal corporate meetings. It also offers a photo booth, stage for a DJ or a live band, and a fully stocked bar, all for only $300. Check us out at utopiaeventcenter.com or call Barn at 217-430-6559 for more information. Utopia Event Center, 900 North 12th Street in
The Tower, a great place to meet and eat. But did you know The Tower has one of the finest drink selections in our area? Along with its incredible Mexican menu, The Tower specializes in tequilas for every taste. Names like Patron, Cabo Wabo, and Hornitos. And don't forget the margaritas. On Mondays and Tuesdays, stop by and pick up a single topping pizza and get Tower margaritas to go. Enjoy The Tower at home or in our dining room, bar area, or The Tower's signature climate-controlled porch. The Tower Pizza and Mexican in Quincy.
And welcome back. Joining me now, my lovely Aunt Amy Kienztle and the lovely Pilar Brumbaugh. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. So we're talking 4th of July, summer heat, animals. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, right? Now, real quick, before we get going, you're both with Quincy Humane Society. You both are wonderful advocates for our animals, cats, dogs, bunnies, all the things with the legs and that, right? So it's good to sit down and talk to the experts because you hear so much stuff on Facebook. Right now, everybody's talking about how to protect your dogs. Everybody's saying, great, this guy's shooting off fireworks already at 1:30 in the morning, right?
Right.
And we know that that kind of affects our sleep as humans, but it really, really tends to affect animals, especially dogs, even more, right?
Yes.
So on 4th of July and days leading up to it, do you have tips or tricks to kind of lessen the angst or the anxiety that dogs tend to feel? And maybe even some cats. I don't know. Have you guys experienced that? I don't know.
I don't know that I've ever experienced the cat having anxiety, but...
Dogs is going to be probably more prominent. I don't own a cat myself, so I think the stress alone of being with my dogs might stress a cat out.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But I think like the unpredicted sounds, the loud sounds, that could. You just have to be mindful with any pet, even with people.
Yeah.
Come on. It can be a lot, and it's almost like you start, late June, and then into like early August, you even still hear a few fireworks, and you just got to be mindful. There's so many little things that you can do, but the most important is to just keep them on their routine. Obviously not late at night playing out in your fenced-in yard, right? But or even just outside, just keep it in mind. Like the fireworks are going to start early. You're going to have what are the little ones that don't make the big,
like the little poppers and stuff like that.
Even those, like when a dog's on a walk, that could spook them out. Just got to be mindful of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So my dog is terrified of loud sounds, thunder. So I know that we do have specific things that we do for her just to kind of prepare her or to soothe her in those instances. But can you give me some tips outside of, being mindful, which of course I think, we all definitely need to do that and some be better at. But when you have an animal and let's say it's a newer dog and you're just now kind of learning that they're having some anxiety with fireworks or loud sounds. So what would you suggest to animal owners to, not that you can always help them avoid the anxiety of it, but what tips would you have to help kind of avoid kind of catastrophe in these situations?
Well, I had bless his heart, I had a dog that as soon as fireworks would go off, if I was doing laundry, jumped in my dryer.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started leaving the TV on or leaving the radio on, kind of the white noise. There's also a thing called a thunder jacket, which wraps tightly around them. Reminds me of a baby.
Right, swaddling them.
Yeah. Then there is also, if you talk to your vet, and I highly suggest that you talk to your vet before giving your animal anything.
Absolutely.
The vet can prescribe a medication for your animal if any of that does not work. Never put your dog outside because they're driving you crazy.
Right.
Because they will break anything that you put them on.
Yeah.
And if you think that they can't jump that fence, you're wrong.
Yeah, they'll go over, under, through,
Yes.
and they will break, and because they're just trying to escape the
noise.
situation, right? They're trying to escape it. So you mentioned medication, and I think it's really important to touch on this because this is what I keep seeing all over Facebook. CBD, go get your dog CBD. And everybody on Facebook is an expert. And although CBD may have worked for their animal, I don't ever recommend, like you said, the medication. Make sure that you're speaking to your veterinarian.
Right.
You want to make sure the dosage is right. God forbid something terrible happens when you're trying to help your dog, right?
Right.
So CBD might be an answer, but make sure you're aware of dosage and how it's going to affect your dog, and talk to your veterinarian, because even if you're in like a, dire straits where you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do something, we don't want to make the situation worse.
Yeah, and not every animal is the same.
Right.
So it may have worked for a dog that you've had in the past, or it may have worked for a friend's animal, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for the pet or pets that are in your home.
Right.
And so really it's just finding that balance. Every animal is going to be different. And there's also things, too, outside of medication that you can do, just making sure that your pet is comfortable. Even if it's just one room with the TV on, the white noise is huge. Just making sure that they're as comfortable as possible.
Right. And if something does happen and they get out, let's talk about preparedness. So if they do get out, right?
Sure.
You want to have your animal microchipped.
Yeah.
Right?
First
Very
thing
important.
I always do, anytime if I'm going to be out of town, or if it's a holiday weekend where you just don't know, and this is really just good practice, and it's really easy to do. Just take your pet and just snap a quick picture.
Right.
You want to get like the main body of the dog. If there's like an identifying spot, sure, you might want to do like a little photo shoot. I don't know if you want to go to that extreme, but in doing that, you now have a recent picture of your pet. You want to make sure that if it is microchipped, that the information is correct. So if you change your phone number, they can't find you if that's not up to date.
Yeah, microchip does no good if your information is not up to date.
And if it's not microchipped, you can call one of your clinics here in town, and you can see if you can get a chip. Making sure that the dog, sometimes people will take their collars off at home.
Yeah.
So make sure that collar's on. And also proper identification. So if you have just a little tag that has their name and a phone number, even an address where they belong to, it's huge.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. So, it's just some things that you can do to be prepared. And that's for 4th of July. And we say 4th of July, but, as Pilar said, it starts late June and tends to go throughout the summer and can be late into early morning hours, right? So just always being aware that these things could happen. Also, as people, we can do our due diligence as well. I'm not saying don't shoot off fireworks because, of course, we all want to celebrate. But just be mindful, especially if you have animals that live in your neighborhood that are outside. Maybe just wait. Maybe even go have a conversation with your neighbor and say, hey, we're going to shoot off some fireworks tonight. Just be respectful and be aware that it is our job as people to stick up for these little animals that can't do anything, right? They can't yell at us. They can just run away. Right. So it's up to us to do the best we can to protect them. Also, another way, so the weather is getting hot, right? So we want to make sure that we're protecting our animals in extreme weather situations, especially heat. So what are some things, Aunt Amy, that you would suggest to, animal owners when we're looking at higher temperatures?
Well, the first thing I do is I don't generally have a water bowl outside because it attracts mosquitoes and things like that, but I do put one out there just even for the short period of time that the dogs are outside.
Right.
Just to make sure that they're getting fluid. I'm very cautious as to the amount of time that they're out there because their heat rises very quickly.
Yeah.
And if you take your dog for a walk, please don't take it in the heat of the day when you're on asphalt because their pads will burn.
Right.
And, they're not going to say, hey.
Right.
Ow.
Yeah. No, they're still excited to go on the walk. But
Right.
one thing, and maybe you can tell me if this is a wives' tale, but if you put your hand on the cement and if you can't hold it there for 5 seconds or longer, it's probably not a good time to take your dog for a walk.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Yet another thing I saw on Facebook. I wanted to make sure it was right. But it does make sense, right?
If you're hot, your pet's going to be hot.
Right.
And think about how much hair and weight they might have on them.
Right. Yeah, and they have to sweat through, they don't have all the pores, so
And
it takes them a long time to cool
It
off.
is true that
Yeah.
if you have an all-black dog, they're going to be hotter.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, stands to reason. And then also, if you have dogs that are outside all day, let's say while you're at work, which of course we don't recommend, but it is what it is. We can't control all those cases, but a lot of those dog houses tend to be heat boxes, right? So make sure that they have shade outside of shelter that tends to get hot, right? Because you want to offer a way for them to escape it, also have, enough water. And then if you leave your dogs in the car, right, which of course
not to happen.
we don't want this to happen ever, but I have seen a few cases where the air conditioner is left on, right? Those are things that you're like, okay, just treat your dog how you would want to be treated, right? You don't want to be
Correct.
locked in a hot car while you're grocery shopping or somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I get some people would really prefer to take their dog with them all the time. I get that.
Yeah,
But I do. But I also don't want to leave them in the car
Yeah.
when it's that hot. I would be the one that left the car running.
Yeah.
And then with my luck, the car would get stolen.
Well,
But-
yeah, no.
Yeah,
So I
that
think
happens.
it's just don't leave your car or don't leave your dog anywhere that gets extreme temperatures because they can't speak for themselves, and we have to be smarter for them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We just have to be aware.
Yes.
And I don't think it's hard. It's just thinking things through, making sure you're being, conscientious, making sure you're talking to your neighbors, have those conversations that, if you have a dog and if your neighbor's out there shooting fireworks, don't go over and be belligerent. Use your big kid words and
Yes.
say, please, can we hold off at least this time? I'm going to be gone. I don't know. I could go on and on and on.
Yes.
I always think about the parties too around this time. People are in and out, they're going here, there, everywhere. If you are at a home with a pet, or if you have a home with a pet and you're hosting people, just make sure everybody is aware of where that pet is. You don't
Right.
have to watch it 24/7, but you really got to be mindful of where they are and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of great foods too, and that's the last thing you want to have to deal with either, is having them get into a food they shouldn't be eating,
Right.
or a nice drink that they shouldn't be having
Right,
either.
right.
So it's just really important.
Or
that-
out the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just slide right by. You would have no idea. And really just double check those fences, because they're really great, but they can also get loose or broken in just a second.
Yes, absolutely.
But I do want to give a shout out because I have had a pet run before.
Yeah, me too.
The best thing that Adams County has ever had was Lost and Found Pets of Adams County, Illinois.
Amen.
Yes.
It is on Facebook, and if you cannot find your dog, it's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Or if you find a pet.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's not your pet and you find someone else's pet,
Yeah.
send them a message.
Yep.
You can't comment on the page.
Right.
Well, you can't post on the page.
Right.
But you can send them a message with all the details. Description, last seen, where you found it.
If it's contained.
Anything
Yeah.
helps. And
Yeah.
that's where that picture comes into
Yep.
play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you get on that page, it will tell you exactly what they
to do.
need. And it will also tell you what phone number, which is the non-emergency number, to call for the police to come pick up the pet if you cannot keep it at your house.
Right. Yeah.
So,
All good stuff. And yeah, definite shout out, because I know that they've connected more pets with owners than probably anyone else. So thank you for doing that. Also, yeah, just take care of your pets. Make sure that you are aware of where they are, how they're feeling. If something happens and you lose your pet, Lost and Found. What is it? Adams County Lost and
Found Pets of Adams
That's
County.
it. Okay. So Facebook that. Get a hold of these fine ladies, Quincy Humane Society. But make sure all of that information is up to date. If you do happen to have to get your pupper out of animal jail, it costs money. You now have to make sure that it's microchipped before it's released. And I think maybe spayed or neutered. At the
Vaccinated.
Vaccinated.
Vaccinated,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And go, not only call dispatch or call Western Illinois Vet Clinic to see if the animal is there, but my gosh, it never hurts to just stop by and say, hi, I'm here.
Right.
Here is that updated picture.
Yeah.
Can you just please go double check and make sure my dog isn't back there?
Right.
and even though we say Western, it's really the city shelter.
Sure.
And so you're calling the city shelter's number, but they are so busy.
Yeah.
That it is always wise just to go out there, have the picture,
Yeah.
and have them look.
Sure.
Because they only have X amount of room.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you do that.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it from the experts and the advocates for our animals.
Experts. You hear that?
Yes, you are experts. I will say that. And I do. I gave you a shout out for advocating for little Nicholas.
Shoot.
So he was an elderly dog, and his owner passed away, and Aunt Amy connected Nicholas with an owner, hopefully forever home. So
I would say that is a connection made in heaven.
it looked like it. He looked like he was right at home. So if you have any questions about animals, how to prepare for 4th of July or the summer heat or anything else, get a hold of these ladies. They will help. And if something happens, reach out. Just make sure that we are doing the best that we can for our animals, because we're the ones who have to speak up for them, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
They're family too.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. I always appreciate talking to you. And of
Thanks
course,
for
love
having us.
sitting down
Yes,
with you.
please. Thank
so
you for
fun.
having us on.
Of course. And I think that does it for today. We'll catch you back here tomorrow for Coffee Talk. See you then.